Globalization is not only the movement of things, of finance, of ideas, but definitely also of people. And on the whole, it is tourism which has moved more people in the present than all the wars, migrations, and whatever in the past. This is the great mass movement of our age. And one of the things is, of course, that about half of tourism is descending on the Mediterranean. I will be speaking about another part of the world, which is Africa. I'm an anthropologist, and I've worked in Africa for all my life, actually. Longer than I care to remember at the moment. What is the impact of all those tourists going to small local communities? That is exactly what we are looking at. The stereotype, of course, is that all those rich people descending in the south, in Africa, gallivanting through the savannah, etc., will trample all the cultural differences. Globalization will be a total big equalizer. And as anthropologists, we have also the notion of localization, which of the resurgence of the local, and we speak of another kind of globalization called glocalization. The global and the local together in a development setting. So the stereotype is that the golden hordes of the tourist will just trample down all the cultural differences. Is that true? Well, the question is, of course, it's not true, and that's what the course is about. How sustainable then is our cultural differences in the vision of tourism, of mass international tourism? And that's what we will speak about. The view will be from Africa. That's what I'm most familiar with, and Africa is actually around the corner. It's just across the sea here. Not very far from Venice, actually, just at the other end of Mare Nostrum, of our sea. And actually in the Roman Empire, Africa was part of the Roman Empire and a very important part as well. So there we are, a view from Africa. And as an anthropologist, I'm not looking so much as the tourist as at the receiver, as the host. Not at the guest, but at the hosts. What is the view from their side? How do they see those tourists coming in and seeing, well, what Africa has to offer? Not only Africa, because Africa will be taken here as an example of local ethnic communities, but we will also roam wider in the world towards, say, Southeast Asia, Oceania, and other America, etc. So it will be a view from the inside towards the world of tourism and towards world tourism. And in effect, tourism is a strange element, it's a strange thing. It has a lot of paradoxes. And those paradoxes come out quite clearly in tourism in Africa, and I will show you a few. This is, I hope it's visible, I think so. To the right-hand side, you see a lot of things you don't recognize, which are people wearing masks. This is Mali, Dogon area, a famous area actually in the world of African tourism. I've been doing their research for the last 30 years, and of course to the left are not Africans. I think it's quite clear that they're not Africans. Not only that, but they are clearly distinguishing themselves from this is, look at me between the savages. More than anything else. And it's very clear that they are very aware of the fact that they're in a very foreign country among aliens. Those are people traveling among aliens. And that's one of the paradoxes of tourism is, well, voiced in I saw that in a tourist brochure, comfortable adventure. That's a very nice paradox, because if you are on an adventure, it should not be comfortable, and you should definitely not know in advance the outcome. So this is one of the paradoxes of tourism in general. The other is a more different, a more intense, less fearful encounter, an encounter between cultures, because that's what tourism is or can be if we do it rightly. And that's what exactly is the whole notion of the VIU. It's an encounter of culture, an encounter of scientific, but also of simple cultures. Here are several of my students among the Himba in Namibia. And what they are looking at is this. They're looking at a joint fascination with things. People find each other in joint interests, and that's what tourism can be. And of course, Africa being Africa, Africa is the other continent. For much of the civilization, it's the other continent. And I love the picture of Africa, where it was just something like the Lido of Venice. It's a very long and very, very narrow. Anyway, Africa is the continent of animals, of wild animals, of game parks, of safari, of photo viewing, etc. And that, of course, is highly relevant for tourism as such, but also for African. But sometimes the distinction between nature and culture is not very clear, as this, and this is how you have to see here. There's a cheetah over there, and is looking for the nature. It has lost its park between the parking cars. So that's one of the things you see. You have creative misunderstandings in tourism. To the left you have a creative misunderstanding in what is nicely called romance tourism, which we also will look into. The white lady and the black gentleman have not exactly the same ideals. And to the right-hand side, you have one of the most poignant of all kinds of tourism, which is what they call roots tourism. Afro-Americans looking for their own roots in Africa. On the top of it is it's a door of no return. Africa, of course, has delivered more humans to the rest of the world than any other continent. So and of course you have the notion of development. Tourists can get into strange situations here. Here is a Dutchman being installed as a development chief in Ghana. And of course, he gets a lot of praise and a lot of honor, but it will cost him a few bucks. Definitely will. So that's what we are doing. The assignments will be, let's see, there will be interviewing. The students will have to go out and interview tourists, and I am told that there are a few tourists in Venice to be found. So that's one thing. Another is internet research, and I don't have to teach you how to do internet research. You know it better than I do. Blogs of people who have been there reading, and of course, and there will be a photo contest inside this particular course. So this is the course on tourism and sustainability and globalization. The other one is the Earth sustainable? Well, actually, we have only 302 days left in the Earth, as far as the Maya are concerned. You know that.
That's very scientific.
That's very scientific. Yeah, it is a high mathematics. Don't worry. The world will end on the 21st of December this year in the late evening. Depends on where you live. And so that. Why at that time? Why the Maya? Why so famous? We will address there, and we will address in this course the whole tour de horizon of world endings in various religions. Zooming in on three major areas. One is Mesoamerica, one is Nordic religions, and one is the Judeo-Christian from the Middle East. Why these? Those are the questions we will address. Why? What are other future projections of religion? How sustainable is the Earth in the views of the various religious traditions? That's what we'll do here. The Nordic one, I won't go into the detail here because I don't want to do problem with our chairman. The Nordic ones, which are extremely heroic. The Mesoamerican one, which are extremely bloody. Because it's a lot of human sacrifice there. The Judeo-Christian ones, we are all inheritors of, in some sense. Here you have some elements of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, plus the fact that, our present is very much busy with, besotted with our own future, our own ending. How sustainable do we think we are religiously? There's a flurry, there's a whole host of apocalyptic thinking in various forms, religious, ecological, well, that's not a large message to Venice. Political, why? We are obsessed, I think, with our own end. And here as well, religion is a wide comparison, a tour de horizon, and the assignments will be more or less of the same. A lot of web research, some interviews, and indeed art analysis, because the ending of the world is one of the most beautiful things to portray. Thank you.